welcome to today's video. I'm Zelda, just in case you're new here, and today I'm going to show you my full face routine, specifically how I contour and highlight. So because I'm going to go all glam today, I'm going to start with this Rooibos primer and moisturizer in one. Not only does it have SPF in it, but it's also pretty thick, in the sense that it's a heavy cream, and I feel like just because it's thicker, it'll glide over it smoother when I go in with my foundation. I can't say I've ever really had a primer wow me, but in my head, the fact that it's thicker makes it feel like it'll work better. Now, how I usually go in and do my foundation is I take my foundation, I pump it onto the back of my hand, I take my beauty blender and then blend it all the way up from one side to the other. And I definitely still do that. That is the tried, tested, go-to method of doing my foundation. But if I want to do more full glam where I have more definition going on, I would do this instead. I'm going to go in first with this LA Girl concealer. This one is in the color Natural. It's the closest to my natural skin tone. And I'm going to put on a lot of it. So I'm going to go here under my eyes, some down the side of my nose, some here on my forehead, definitely some on my chin, and then here on top of my lip. And let's not forget the bridge of the nose. And then if you've been watching my videos, you know that I always mix my concealers just because I feel like it adds more of a gradient, which just gives a more flawless look at the end of the day. So I'm next going to go in with this Essence Camouflage Plus Concealer in the color Light Ivory. And I'm going to apply this right underneath my eyes where I want it to be the brightest. A little bit on the lids, a small bit out sideways like this. I'm also going to drag this under my nose like so to bring this part forward. A touch on the chin and a touch on the forehead. That is optional. The only places I'd say you really need it would be underneath your eyes and here on your upper lip. So the idea is that I'm going to blend out the concealer into my contour without having the foundation on first. That's why I have more concealer on. But the only place I tend to have an issue with is down here on my jaw. I don't always feel the need to cover that, like how I blend it out tends to be fine. The fact that some of my natural skin is peeking through here is usually fine for me because it's glam everywhere else. And it's kind of been a trend throughout 2021 to have more of your natural skin peeking through. And for that reason, I'd say it's optional to put anything down here, but I'm just going to put a little bit down here just because I want to go all glam today. Another place is optional is right here on your temples if you want a little bit of your own skin peeking through. It sounds weird, but doesn't look that bad. Now for the next step, I'm going to take a concealer in the color Toast to contour. And I'm not going to draw directly onto my face. Instead, I'm going to squirt a little bit out onto a palette, so I'm just going to paint it on there. And I'm going to spread it out into a thin layer. Next, I'm going to go in with my dual fiber brush. I'm going to stamp it in the contour shade to pick it up just a little bit. And don't just go up and down. I hit it and then I swipe down a little bit like so to pick it up. Then I'm going to push it together and buff it on to my cheek right where I want to contour. And I do push it up into my hairline just to make sure it is a seamless blend. Of course, what you do on the one side, you have to do on the other side. Try your best to keep it even. I'm also going to work some onto my forehead. Now, the reason I'm going in with a brush like this is you are applying the color already blended. So you don't risk applying too much of the product. And that's usually the issue with cream contour and why you struggle to blend it out. Also going to go a touch under my lip, being careful to miss the concealer I have under my lip. And of course down the side of my nose. Now you can go in with a smaller brush when you're doing this for more detail, but you'd be surprised how much you can get done with such a big brush. I'm going to start with my nose and I'm just going to push the contour up closer and closer until I've buffed out that concealer in the middle. So I'm just going up and down the side of my nose and moving closer to the middle. I've also now used most of it on my palette, so I'm not wasting any product. Just give your brush a wipe on something to make sure it's clean if you want to go in with your dual fiber brush to do the rest of your face. You can then use it to stipple in your concealer everywhere and just blend it in. Or you can just go in with your beauty blender. I'm just going to show you that you can do it like this. I'm probably just going to go in with my beauty blender to smooth it all out. Now you want to start in the middle of the concealer just to make sure you have covered that area. And then you taper it off to the edges when there's not a lot left on your brush, so that it can gently fade over that brown contour you've got going. And that'll again just blend the colors in seamlessly without you doing too much blending yourself. Now, of course, bouncing your beauty blender and stippling your brush is the exact same thing, so you'll be using the exact same motions no matter what you're using. Just make sure you get into those crevices of your nose, otherwise they're going to peek out at the end. And make sure you target the places that usually shine through. So you want to make sure you definitely get the coverage here on your jaw and here on your temples before you blend it too far, but also remember to just go over that contour lightly. Then it peeks through underneath and makes it look more like a natural shadow than if it's just sitting on top. Now just because my brush isn't the softest, I'm going to go in with my beauty blender now because it's a little harsh on the eyes. But I do like that I get to use my brush in this method because no one really uses dual fiber brushes anymore these days, even though they're so handy and they're so nice. Everyone's kind of grown addicted to their beauty blenders now. And I'm not going to lie, beauty blender is a very useful tool. That is why everyone is using them. But what's the point of having a brush if you're not going to use it, you know? Now you can judge what you look like. If you want to add any more brightness or darkness anywhere, I am going to add a little bit of lightness here just because I want this area to be all connected and brought forward. And now that I'm happy with everything, I'm going to go in and set the rest of my face with my translucent setting powder. I'm using this Catrice Fixing Nude Illusion Loose Powder. Just gonna tap some into the lid. And then I go in with my kabuki brush. I tap it in the powder, tap off the excess, and first go in right underneath my eyes to prevent any creases from forming. I go on top of my lid as well, and then go over the rest of my face. I tap it down my cheeks and then just roughly buff it in everywhere else. And there you have full glam highlight and contour without using any foundation. Now I do prefer having some extra coverage underneath my eyes, so I'm going to go in with my Shade and Light palette. I like using this one here and just applying it underneath my eyes. And I start under my eye and then drag it over the edge of my eye bag all the way down, and that way you can help hide it. You can bring this up the side of your nose to accentuate your contour a little bit more, but avoid your nostril, otherwise it looks a little funny. Now because you set your face with that translucent setting powder, you now have a smooth, even layer to go in with, and powders will just glide on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this middle shade on a big fluffy brush, and I'm first going to go in and just bronze up my neck, because you do see it a little bit with what I'm wearing today. I'm also dragging it up underneath my chin. Now you can leave it as is with just the cream highlight and contour. You don't have to go in with the powders as well. But as I mentioned at the beginning, we are going all out and full glam today, and that means as much dimension as possible. I do like a little bit more of a warm toned color to bronze with, because inherently you're trying to bronze yourself up, but I definitely prefer a lighter color. That way you can really build it up without really risking messing up your makeup. If you're going with something too dark, you might end up struggling to blend it out. Once I've bronzed, I'm going to go in with a firm short brush. I'm going to pick up a cool tone shade and I'm going to use it to contour around my mouth. I'm hitting right on the edge underneath my lip and blending it out. You can also give a very light touch to your upper lip, but you have to be careful because you run the risk of seeing it. You can also just give your mouth a little upturn by putting a little bit of contour there. See? Gives you a little bit of sharper edge to your mouth. You want to blend it, but you don't want to take it too far. I use the same brush on my nose if I want to touch up my nose contour a little bit. But at this point, like I said, I'm more concerned with brightening it up, so I'm going to pick up a brightening powder. Like I said, I already did the sides here to just carve out that contour, but also the thinnest line on the bridge just to accentuate that again, in case you covered it with contour. For the rest of the face, I use a slanted fluffy brush, and I just put it in the hollows of my cheeks, the deepest parts of the contour, not everywhere, and then I blend it out really far. You really want to pick up a small amount of product, and you want your brush to be pointing upwards, not downwards. And if you want to be a little bit more dramatic, you can add a little bit of contour here on the temples. Slims down your face a little bit, but also makes you look more mature. So use it when applicable. If you feel your nose contour isn't blended out well enough, you can go in with your kabuki brush to go over it. Don't go side to side, go up and down. Or if you want to go with your beauty blender, start on the side and stamp down the side. Don't go over the nose, just go down the sides. Onto highlighter, I like using a pencil brush and any high shine highlighter that you like. I'm picking up a rose gold toned one, and I'm going to apply some right on my cupid's bow. Also a little bit up here under my nose, underneath the arch of my brow, and then I'm going to thinly taper it in towards the beginning of my brow. Same on the other side. I'm going to put some on the bridge of my nose, but I'm going to keep it nice and thin. And then I'm going to jump to the tip of my nose and apply some there. After tapping off my brush, I'm going to put a little bit on my forehead, right above where your eyebrow starts. If your eyebrow starts in here, you feather in like this part, and then here you start filling it in. Here where you stop feathering it in. Right above that in the middle of your forehead, you want a little dot of highlighter. Not a lot, a really small amount. You don't want to do this if you have a spot or anything on your forehead, But I'll just add a little bit more dimension to your face, and then you can blend it out in an oval shape. So more up and down than side to side. Like I said, really subtle, but I think it makes a difference. I also like applying some on my cheeks, but more towards the back. I don't want to drag it too far down. And then at the end I go over all the highlighter with my fingers just to buff it out, to make it look natural and like it's just a part of my skin. Everywhere but under my brows. Those can stay shiny. Then you want to finish up with all the powders on your face, so next I'm going to go in with a little bit of blush. I have a blush brush, I'm just going to apply it here on my cheeks. I like stamping the color in a little bit more and then to blend it in, buffing it. And you can be as rosy as you want to, there are no rules. And then you're going to have to magically do your eyebrows so you can set your face. I'm currently using this Essence What's Your Fruit Mood setting spray just because it's so tiny and cute. But you can use whatever setting spray you want. Just make sure you get all of your face and then give it a second to dry without creasing your face. So if you felt like frowning, now is not the time. If your setting spray makes little dots on your face just because it's running empty or it doesn't have a nice sprayer on it, you could just take the butt of your beauty blender and bounce it over your face. That'll absorb those little drops and smooth it out. And now everything is locked and loaded. You don't want to go back in with powders on your face because it might not blend that well on top of the setting spray. The setting spray is meant to hold onto makeup, so if you put anything on top of it, it's kind of going to grip onto it and it makes it hard to blend. Which is beneficial when it comes to eyeshadow, but not when it comes to the rest of your face when you want everything to kind of blend together. Now I'm going to do some nude basic look because the focus is on the face today, not the rest of the makeup. But I'm going to show it to you anyways because I don't like skipping ahead and having it done. I'm going to take this Essence, this is me number 19 lipstick, and I'm going to take this tiny little brush. And I'm going to use it as a lip brush so that I can outline my lips in brown. Now that I have the lip line, I can tap on the lipstick just to push up the color. Be careful to not go outside of the edges. Then just blend whatever nude you like in the middle until your lips are light enough for you. I'm going to go in with a drop of gloss just to make it nice and shimmery. Just give it a nice wet look. Hello?
I just want to ask you something before I continue with the marking.
Can I ask you what do you think of the lips?
The lips? Let's see. Smell nice.
Thank you. Oh, it's good.
That's funny. Can I get you some tissue maybe?
Oh, good idea. Don't think too hard, please. I'm in the mood for some dusty rose. Blow that out in the crease. Bring it in on the lower lash line. With a small taper brush and a touch of Cypress Umber, I'm just going to work that into the crease to just deepen up the color a little bit. I'm also going to drag it up into the crease and then out in that same wing shape. Then with a flat yet fluffy brush, I'm going to pick up Tempera, which is this pale color here. And I'm going to place it on the lid to brighten up the eye. I want this instead of a flat shader brush so it's not too intense. I'm not making any super sharp lines. This color always just elevates a look in my opinion. Some black eyeliner all around the eye. A quick but subtle wing, or at least that's the aim. Those are the wings we ended up with. I keep forgetting that I don't have a lash curler anymore. It broke. Can you believe I used it enough that it broke? So I'm gonna go in with this Essence Lash Princess False Lash Effect Mascara, hoping it really does have a false lash effect because I don't want to put falsies on. I somehow went from feeling like false lashes are a requirement to they're too much. So I'm trying to see what my own lashes can do for me. No, I really didn't want to have to wear false lashes, but without an eyelash curler, you're just not gonna see them, so gotta do what you gotta do. But then this is the final result. I hope you enjoyed today's video as much as I enjoyed making it. Let me know what you think of my full face routine that doesn't use any foundation. Because honestly, this came to be when I didn't have any foundation, but I still wanted to look full glam, so I worked with what I had and I ended up enjoying it. But like I said, this is it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again next time. Bye bye. What's wrong? Hi. I love you too. Do I look funny?
You look cute though.
Thank you. You jumped out like there's like an emergency.